I request that we do that at the end. As we leave, we pick up an instrument, please. Because let's continue the session, because some things are becoming hot. I can't keep them. Diana. Miss Kisaka, did you think that you are going to leave this place without answering? I even thought, I was like, you cannot realize that Uganda Revenue Authority is here. And you are one of the fire that is causing people a lot of pressure. And now, because of all protocol being observed, I will allow Her Excellency to speak before I ask my question. Yes, Her Excellency.
Thank you very much. I have a question I thought the banks should answer. All over the world, when you need a loan, you go to a bank, they want a guarantee.
Yeah.
So in my view, banks support the rich, the educated, the literate,
yeah,
bankable, they want a business plan and all that. Now, how do you assist the rural woman?
Yeah.
Secondly, if she's married,
yeah,
she must seek permission
yeah,
from someone else.
Yeah.
How do we assist that woman to go around that?
Yeah.
So that she can also enjoy financial inclusion.
Yeah.
I think our banks have not looked at these issues properly.
Yeah.
In my country, I think all over the world,
yeah,
women are marginalized financially.
Yes.
Because they don't have a guarantee.
Yeah.
You have a guarantee if you have a house, or if you have land. Now, do they have land? Do they own a house?
Mm.
So I just want assistance from the bank. How do we assist women in the rural areas, in the peri-urban areas who are poor?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, My Excellency. Actually, this question is very good, and I know you are dying to answer it, but I have some banks here also. I have Finance Trust here, I have Post Bank, I have Yuga Ford. So after EcoBankers, I would like to hear from that side. And yes, it's true, I remember applying for a mortgage as a staff member of the bank. And I remember we were fighting with my husband at that time. And now I had to go cook, pretend I'm now fine, smile, because he had to sign the papers. To now find out I was getting a what? A mortgage. I was so annoyed. Because now I was still annoyed with my issue. Now I had to pretend that the issue no longer existed, yet it was big just because in my documentation he had to sign this document. So is Finance Trust answering a question?
No.
Yeah, or this is another question?
Another question.
Another question. Okay, so you're holding that question. We have to answer it. Yes, let's get the questions and then we'll have the answers at once. Yes.
Thank you, Manuela, and everyone else. I like it when we start handling the real issues, just like Her Excellency talked about. I love the way banks beautify their products. It's normal. But again, what are the issues? It's very good that we have Bank of Uganda here that does not regulate the banking sector. Interest rates are the issue. Why women cannot afford the loans. Collateral.
Yeah.
Stringent criteria. I asked for a loan of 10 million. At the end of the day, I'm receiving a loan of 7 million cash down with so many other fees, insurance, but again, I'm going to pay 10 million.
Actually more. You're paying more.
And interest.
Interest.
Let me tell you, my mother has survived on loan for about 20 years because she educated us on loan and the business has been there. But do you know this bank has used her business to pay off its employees? She's not benefiting.
Yeah.
She has become loan dependent.
Yeah, yeah.
The moment we start approaching these banking sectors, it is a loan dependency coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to thrive on loans. These are the issues banks should tell us. Don't beautify the packages. They look beautiful. We always come there. But the reality is different. Now that we have policymakers here, I always get excited when I see Honorable Amelia Chavas. And when she sees Siatini Uganda, she's like, oh my God. We have issues that should be addressed. Unfair competition, whereby imports coming into Uganda. Honorable Amelia, I know she knows about the rice imports that now have taken over the Ugandan market. And our local millers are being kicked out of business. But again, these are the women who are in loan dependency right now. How are we addressing issues of unfair competition, unfair trading, unfavorable policies? You know, when you go to Ministry of Trade, they even smile, they say, what do you mean gender responsive policies? What do you mean? Trade is gender neutral. We are not going to change our policy to favor a woman. When you go to URA, they'll tell you this tax bill, it is this percentage. Woman or no woman or man, that is the tax bill. All women are in the microsector and they are the dominants of the microsector. They have to pay their taxes. It's not going to exclude them. So how do we prepare our women who are already frustrated? Now, for the microfinances, for me, I feel government should close those ones. 6 months, and you are doubling a loan. You receive 10 million, and within 6 months, and the interest rate you're supposed to pay, you're supposed to double it. You're not able to pay it, they will take over your business. Those microfinances, again, are another story. So, I mean, how is Bank of Uganda taking responsibility of the actual issues affecting the women? Yes. Because tomorrow they are going to tell you that our challenge is to access finances. And the banks are there, they are beautifying their packages. They are very silent about interest rates. Tell us about the interest rates, and we start from there, and we see if our women can actually afford these financial packages. Wow. Tell us if you have loans in place that do not require collateral, because no woman here, even I myself, apart from the car I drive, I don't own anything she owns. These are majority of the women you're talking about. Yeah. So let us talk about that.
Yeah. Well said. And as if that's not enough, because I saw you hitting at your asking. Yeah. Because they just introduced a tax on circles, right?
I was telling finance trust here that they have morning meetings. Unlike us CSOs, banks have morning meetings every day. Every day, that's something I know. Do they discuss alternatives? And I know that this can become a discussion that goes in circles. But then the women, they were telling them that they are not coming, they are at home, they are cooking, then we go back, now tell them, now, the truth is, that's why we need gender lenses in our work. I don't think, ultimately, we don't want to be taxed. We do, because we know that that tax is going to help our country. But it is this tax, the way you saw Amy saying, it's the approach. It's the approach. After 6 months, you are taking my property. It's the approach. Now we're being taxed on circle taxation, and yet meanwhile, women are the majority in the circles. Now there is circle taxation. How is this going to impact financial inclusion? Surely. Okay, because now we are taxing on all ends. The other day, somebody wanted to send me 1 million, and I really needed the money. But the 1 million, she asked me, but now why don't I just send a order with the 1 million? Because the charge on it is 20,000. That is also taxed. So instead of losing that 20,000, now I kept imagining now what if she's on the border now, and
it's an accident? What if she's on the board and she? Now I have to lose 20,000 because I fear my money. What man? My money. But I'm like, what if she gets a problem on the road? And then now it's because she was sending me money. You understand? So now before I know it, I no longer want to trade at all. Anyway, we have many questions that have gone to the banks, that have gone to Bank of Uganda. I see you all scratching your heads and collecting answers. Honorable Amelia has a question. Ms. Diana, so we are going to start right from where we started with the first question. We are so ready.
Thank you very much, ladies. I can see there are a number of questions and a number of issues that are touching us as ladies. I'll start with the one of Her Excellency. How do we help the grassroots woman? There's a lot of work for us to do in this space, but what we are doing is that we are going down to these women. It's not about giving you the money, but also training you. One of the questions I really love to ask myself every time somebody wants money is, why do you want the money? What is the borrowing cause? And that question all banks will have at the back of their minds. After we've thought about the borrowing cause or the borrowing need, what is the source of repayment? It's not about the security, the source of repayment. So, if you're selling tomatoes, as an example, now we're down at the grassroots. So your borrowing cost is going to be money to go and acquire the stock. Maybe you're going to buy from the farmers. So we're going to finance you for that. And we want to understand that if you don't understand it, you get it wrong. Once you've understood you want to buy tomatoes from the farmer, and you're asking me to give you money, my next question will be, when you get these tomatoes from the farmer, how long are you going to have them on your stall? Then you'll probably tell me it takes you probably a week or two to sell these tomatoes. If I give you money and I ask you to pay me back in 1 day, I've got it wrong. Because it's going to take you 2 weeks to get the money. So I need to align myself to when cash goes out and when cash comes in. So I need to be closer to when cash comes in, and that's when I ask you to pay me back. Now many lenders go wrong on that front. You ask for money before the money is there. And then somebody ends up defaulting when they should not actually be defaulting. Then we have these men who don't understand that also women can manage money. And back to what Her Excellency said, how do you handle the man who wants now? You may borrow and the man wants part of that money. And yet, like I told you, what's the borrowing cost? To buy those tomatoes from the other farmer. Now,
we have to get permission from him to get that money to buy tomatoes.
So, my neighbor here, my panelists, fellow panelists, you've got to help us, and as we're talking to these men, to help them understand that this money, if it's for business, it's for business. We cannot take it away. You get it? And you need to understand that sometimes we want to keep quiet, and many women will do their hustles quietly because these people know how to encourage on some of this money. You get it? So there's some work to do around financial inclusion, as we do financial inclusion for the women. We need to include the men. You see, like there's a lot of focus, let's say, on the girl child. We forget the men. So we end up raising men that do not know how to deal with empowered women. We are talking about financial inclusion for women. Are these men prepared to deal with women that are financially empowered? They're not. And we need to do some work there. You get it? We need to do a lot of work there. And as I'm saying this, I am speaking to Casita. As we're talking to those men there, the 30%. Remember that's 70 is women, right? 70 is women, 30 is the men. Yes. So this 30% needs to understand that the 70% that is fully empowered has to handle this money. Somebody touched on collateral. there are many forms of collateral. It doesn't have to be landed property. And at EcoBank, we understand that very well. We can finance you against your stocks. We can finance you against your invoices. I have supplied to, let us say, name one company. You've supplied to, let us say, you've supplied to URA. And URA has told you they will pay you in 30 days. But you don't have, remember I talked about borrowing costs. Now URA has given you a contract to supply paper. You don't have money for that paper, to purchase the paper. Come to us with your invoice, the LPO you have received from them. When you bring the LPO, we'll say, okay, URA has said they're going to buy from you. We will get that and we'll give you money to purchase the paper. And then we'll go back to what I said. How long will URA take to pay you? If you say 60 days, then our tenure will be 60 days. We shall not tell you pay us in 30 days. Because in 30 days, URA will not have paid you. So, a lot of the problems we see is because of our financing mismatch. And our training at EcoBank is to tackle that. To tackle that and help you understand that. The other form of security we can take can be your asset. Maybe you're running a small plant and you're manufacturing or making juice and you have a small machine there. And you want to borrow. I said borrowing costs to do what? Now you want to buy your raw materials to help you produce whatever you're producing. You don't have security. That equipment is not about tangible security, like the landed property. That equipment can be security. The blender. Now that one will combine all your different small equipment, the small ones, because you may have different ones. Yeah, like for example, somebody who is running a restaurant will tell you, I have my kitchen stoves, I have my tables, I have my chairs, I have all this. So we come and look at your business. A financial who is financing you without coming to your business, there's a problem. They will not understand you. We need to come back to what one of the persons said. Come to the grassroots. We need to come down and understand you, understand what you're doing, understand the challenges in your business, understand the opportunities, and finance the gaps that we see in your business. So do not be worried. LPO financing we can do. Stock or inventory financing we can do. Asset financing we can do. Invoice financing we can do. But we also don't refuse titles if that's what you want to do. The last question I want to talk about is the question of interest rates. And the lady there was so passionate about it and said, banks, we should not even shy away from these things. It is true we charge for this money. But what I want to also tell you is that banks, at least where I am, but I also know, because I'm also working for other institutions, it is risk-based pricing. The higher the risk, the higher the pricing. Also, what my regulator, Bank of Uganda, said, bring those deposits and they come in. The initial deposits that come to the bank, sometimes people ask for interest on those deposits. So the deposit becomes expensive. So if you're going to own one, lend it, already it has come in expensively. There's a cost attached to it. Yeah? So all of those, there's so many factors that plan in there. But specific for women, what have we done as EcoBank? Discounted loan pricing. So you come to us, let us understand your business. Even when you just call, for me, I want to go where the business is. I want to see what you're involved in. Let us discuss. You have a right to negotiate. We have a right to understand you, and then be able to give you a tailored solution to support your financing requirement.
Honorable Mimi, when she says that, I could have given the microphone to Bank of Uganda. But then Bank of Uganda had already said your deposits are too few, so the rates are high. But because the rates are high, the deposits are too few. So because the deposits are too few, so we have a chicken egg situation. Can we please pick who is the chicken and who is the egg? And as our advocate, we would like you to advise us on which one should be our chicken and which one should be our egg. Should we bring deposits or should somebody first reduce on this interest rate so that we can bring in our money. Because if they are reduced, the money will come. Isn't that what we said? If the rates are, but we can't now say, now you must bring your money. If it is expensive, we won't bring. So this chicken egg situation, I know there was already a question asked to you, Honorable, but maybe it would be nice if you could address who is the chicken, who is the egg? Is it the interest or it is the deposits? Which one is the chicken? Which one is the egg? Over to you, Honorable.
The chicken and the egg, that one should have been addressed by the bankers. Because they're more, they handle them according to the requests or to the applications. Of mine, I would like to talk about competition. The unfair competition. Yes, I must admit that there are some irregularities that are brought about by sometimes selfishness by some of there could not be policy, but sometimes by the individuals who manage these offices. Because, for example, the issue of rice is something I had managed to control, but I could raise this issue also with the responsible people. But what I know is that we've been drafting a competition policy for some years to be able to regulate our economy, but also balance out the forces. We took it to Parliament twice, and it was thrown out. And I'm sure they've taken it back, and now I'll check it out. But that policy is the one that was supposed to be able to balance the needs or the processes that all the players, the stakeholders go through, and to manage the inequalities that are between the processors, if it is a produce, the processors and the importers. So I've taken note of this. I'm also aware that there have been some irregularities in that area. And as I'm in industry, I'll make sure that I raise this matter again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable. But I also think one of the things that I think would be critical to us helping you in your quest to help us is if we also had more women in leadership. Because clearly, some things we wouldn't be struggling with if we were there to assist you. So we'd like to encourage more honorables in here to join the real honorables, okay? So she threw back the question of chicken and egg to Bank of Uganda here. I was hoping to give it her because she would go, but since it came back here, you're asking us to bring in more deposits. But we are saying we can't bring in more deposits because the interest rate is already high. Friends, who is the chicken? Who's the egg? Assist us.
Sorry. Also, with big investors coming, they are given 2 years moratorium. No tax. Why is it done to the big and the rich? It's not done to the ordinary.
Wow.
Yes. And so I think it's also very important that when we talk affirmative action, how do we affirm our own people and say she wants to plant tomatoes? There will be drought, there will be floods, there will be storms. How do we protect that customer of ours and ensure that if she loses the harvest this year, we don't take? She was saying we take the business after 6 months. Why do we take the business after 6 months? We must know agriculture is a difficult business. And how do we empower people to ensure that they succeed? Despite the drought, despite the storm, but at the end of the day, it must be a win-win. So how do we build in all these challenges to assist the rural women
Wow. So after Bank of Uganda has answered, I would like to hear from you again. 2 questions have come to you now so far. One is on the SACCO taxation, and now also tax holidays for the big and the rich, who are usually even men.
All of them.
Let's say it as it is. Who are usually men. The 30% already, yet there is some 70% that is available. So why these tax holidays for the big rich men, let me say?
For 2 years.
2 years. 2 years tax holiday. Oh wow. I don't want to be you, Ms. Diana, right now. But I will have Bank of Uganda really answer, and then over to you.
Thank you. Sincerely, if we don't bring in our deposits, there will be no money for us to pick from these banks. Manuela, imagine you come to a bank and deposit 1 million. I and Teo come and each ask for a loan, and it's given to us, and you come back to withdraw, and it's not there. What would happen? So we need these deposits. We need these deposits to be able to lend. However, the government has many policies it has put in place for us to pick from loans. We have the agriculture credit facility loan, and people should be able, and it's at a very low interest, 12%. But because of a lack of few things, documentation, these are not being picked. Recently, the small recovery business loan was launched. And this, we have realized the uptake is so low, yet also the interest is very low. So we are in a process of doing a survey to understand why is this not being taken up. So as government, it is doing something. We had Susan saying we have the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Fund. Let's utilize these funds if we do not want to go for the high-end interest rate loans. Thank you.
Ms. Diana, I'm coming to you, but Kasita is itching there because then they have the reason. They are telling the central bank the reason. Central bank is refusing to give. You still want deposits. If you reduce, friends, if they, how many of us are borrowers right now? Let's just take a quick sample. I shouldn't do this.
Everyone.
Okay, it's not a good. You're not the right. You're the wrong people. Okay, how many of us would have liked to take on more loans right now? How many of us would like to take on another loan? You'd like to take on, but the rate is 28. If it came down to 10, how many of you would take a loan? Have you seen what just happened? So that 10% immediately we are borrowing more by virtue of the fact that the thing came, the rate came down. It wasn't actually a chicken egg situation. The chicken, we all know the chicken. If this interest rate goes down, more people will borrow. But I'm not Kasita, so I'll allow.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Let me challenge the regulator and even the banks and everyone. I would want us to appreciate that, okay, we as women in business, yes, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. We as women in business, we've now, the veil that has been on our face has actually gone off. And twatandika okulaba mu COVID. Do you know what is happening? These people are now being forced to come to us down there, purportedly sensitizing what and the reason is our appetite to take their money has gone down because the other cash flows that we used to have, to the extent of not feeling the pinch, the costs and everything, we are now very careful.
Yeah.
Now, because they have a lot of money seated with them, they are now into our shops there. This is what used to happen. She would sit, because she has the collateral, she has the building, she only monitors that cash flow on the account, not knowing how that cash flow is actually coming. That relationship between her and my trader there has been missing. And at this time, it is becoming hard for her to mend it because the situation has changed. So, On who is the chicken, who is the egg? We are going to identify ourselves, because what we are doing here as women, we are now using our social networks, we are raising this capital, they are realizing we are not taking their high interest. The cost of doing business online is so high. It is even when women are loyal, most defaulters are men. Why? When I identify a loophole and I'm like, so the bank is cheating me, I don't have that patience. But now, because these women are patient and they're like, okay, maybe let me do this, or but they are being exploited.
Yeah.
And so we don't need to ask who the chicken is, who the egg is. It is very open.
It's very obvious. And we have exploitation assumptions in URA. So there were some accusations here that would like you to address. The tax holidays for big organizations, the SACCO tax. Diana, please tell us what's going on.
Thank you very much, Emanuela, and it is such an honor to be here on behalf of my Commissioner General, John Musinguzi, and on behalf of URA. I have extremely enjoyed the discussion here, and it is a pertinent discussion because, as we have all acknowledged, women are at the base of our economy. We are responsible for actually getting things going across. Now, at URA, we've got several interventions for women. I'm not sure if any of you have been able to attend our annual women's conference. No. Okay, we need this partnership to grow.
Yeah.
So we have this conference, and it's been going on for years now, targeted towards women. The most recent one was held in Mbale, and it was addressing the aspects of digitization, especially in the context of women. And the discussion today also goes into that angle. So we recognize that women are important in taxation as well. And as Casita has said, you have 3,000 members, of which, rather 3 million, of which 70% are women. Now, the other statistic that is quite interesting to look at is that the tax register at URA is not 3 million. The tax register at URA today is 2.4 million. But Casita, yes, of which 2.1 million are women. So that's a big problem. That's a big problem. And it is a problem that we need to address together as far as tax is concerned. As we all know, as an economy, we are constrained. Our tax to GDP at the moment is at 12%. What is the reason for that? Our tax register is only a meager 2.4 million as of now. But the actual business happening, the GDP happening, has so many other contributors to it, but they are not in this tax angle. And I'm sure Casita will agree with me on this, that we are looking at expanding a tax base and making facilities available to our nationals, but we are not contributors into this kitty at the end of the day. And there is that dimension that is important, and that is just on the broad perspective of taxation as a whole. That said, we have deliberate effort to actually reach out to women, because we have the You Will organization as well. That has also women dealing. We could have intersections between the two, because the members in Casita are probably also members in You Will or in any other association. So we have intersections around those groups of stakeholders that we're engaging. But at the end of the day, the whole question we have to address is, as a nation, how do we actually grow our tax to GDP at a cost that is not painful for all of us? The bottom line is that we all must be able to contribute something. Then we've got the specific issue on SACCOs. And then we've got the issue of tax holidays for the big, probably investors that are coming in. The big boys, yes, the big boys, especially on the investment front. I believe that from a government perspective, the idea is around building our capacity internally to produce goods through industrialization. And I believe that is the backdrop of us having these exemptions for people who are coming, probably to deliver some of what we are not doing. But again, the question is, we are also able to do these things. Yes. So can we come together and pool the resources that we have? Because each one of us, small as we are not going to be able to pull the same capacity that the big person has. But can we cooperate as Ugandans? Can we cooperate as women to build and supply these things that we can? And maybe some of the things we can do would be small, you know, to do that jewelry. Recently, I homeschool my children. And so recently we had activities on just hand skilling, what we can do. And we had a project on doing all sorts of things, doing furniture. And these are young, they are very young, between 16 and lower. Can we get our children to do carpentry, for instance? Can they do the jewelry and produce it? Can they do all kinds of things? And we talked about education earlier on. What are the things that we actually train our children in to be effective, you know, to have the knowledge that they need in order to run businesses that are viable? And I can hear the paradox of the bank, because the bank is also doing a business, yes, which must be viable. Yeah. And the person who's coming to pick money must also do a business, yeah, that is viable, taking into consideration that cost. Yeah. And one of the other costs that we don't add into our literacy is the aspect of taxation. So somebody has gone home knowing they are going to make 1 million and that's it. Before they know it, URA is at their door saying, no, out of that 1 million, I also need you to give me this 50,000 or 100,000. And they have not thought about that. So the issue of education is big, yeah, and it has to cover all of these aspects together. Now on SACCOs, we actually had a holiday for 10 years on SACCOs. I don't know if we are aware that SACCOs were exempt from tax for 10 years. Yes, I remember. The goal being to build that capacity for the SACCOs to actually survive. So the tax holiday is meant to help us put the systems in place that will make our business sustainable. But a tax holiday cannot go on forever. We must be able to agree that it cannot go on forever. It is to give us that head start as we run that operation. So now the 10 years have lapsed, and that's why the tax has come back. Again, in the spirit of leveling the ground for all business. Because on the other front, somebody will say, but I am in this, what business? In manufacturing, I am suffering this tax. This person is in the business of SACCO and they have no tax. But we know that there is priority there for 10 years to help us build that capacity. So I encourage us to also embrace these changes as they go on. And as we also continue to advocate for more ways in which we can make our tax system more cost effective, you know, not a pain and a burden to us at the end of the day. And I'm glad to be here, of course, and we're looking forward to partnering more on the front of education and on literacy. And I'm sure that as an institution, we can commit resources to such a noble event, especially for the women. For me being here, I will speak especially for the women. No hard feelings for chairman, but especially for the ladies. Because we have that heart to actually build, because women are pertinent to actually growing our economy. A big portion of agriculture, for instance, is being done by women in a subsistence way. Perhaps if that woman can move from that subsistence level of doing business and become, you know, have more yield at the end of the day, it would be better. So dialogue does continue on how we can make this more efficient. Also in the area of trade, importation and what have you, we have simplified trade regimes for women, which do not require them to go through some of the detailed protocols under our customs arrangement. To a certain value, of goods that are coming in. And so those are opportunities for our women to also tap into in order to grow on the side of our customs business. So thank you very much, Manuela.
You're welcome. I think one of the things that two things that we're realizing. One, we all came here thinking, you have to sort, you have to sort. Then the one who's sorting is saying, now it is also you. Also you are sorting. So all of us have come here, and the reason we are all invited
Thank you so
here
much.
is because we all have work to do. All of us here. Kasita, you have some 600,000 who are not there. Now she's taxing all the 2.4, kumbe they are this side. Then also you need her to educate your people. But to educate the people, she needs them available. So where is the media? So essentially, we all have work to do for a gender-lensed economy. Yeah. We all have work to do for a gender-lensed economic policy. We all have work to do. And so because we all have work to do, I would like to invite us together. We are going to take on these gender mainstreaming standards. We are all going to pledge today that we are going to go back, sit at our desks, and ask ourselves, are we being gender cognizant in all of our meetings? In all of our meetings, in all of our meetings, in all of our agreements, every time we sit, we are all pledging that we are going to think about a woman. When we say that we are going to train, we are going to set up training institutions, and they will be meeting every Wednesday at 6 p.m. We need somebody in a meeting who will say, but the women will be going to pick up children. What do you mean training is at 6 p.m.? Okay, since they're not there, let us do online. But the cost of online study is expensive for this woman. So we need somebody who is constantly looking through a gender lens. So we'd like to invite Honorable, Her Excellency, just before the Excellency is, yes, Her Excellency Lulu. Just would like you to sign. Would like to also invite Honorable Amelia Chambade. We would like, as our core inspirers, to come and sign the gender mainstreaming standards here today, to say that we're making a commitment to look through a gender lens at our workplaces. So, yes, please. Her Excellency Lulu, please let's give them a round of applause. Honorable Amelia Chambade, Mr. Anna Chisaka, please stand up, Mr. Anna Chisaka. Would like Abel, please, would like you to stand up and sign this. Would also like Bank of Uganda to be able to sign this commitment. Thank you. We are already seeing people from Equal Opportunities Uganda, representatives of Equal Opportunities Uganda, signing this pledge here today. Thank you so much, Honorable Amelia Chambade. Thank you. Ms. Dana Chisaka is also going to sign this document. Okay, we'll be having our regulator also coming and signing soon. To commit to look through a gender lens and be able to take on these gender mainstreaming standards that we have recommended. Thank you so much, Abel. Abel. Yes, please, the hand clap is welcome. Thank you. We're making a commitment here today that we shall be taking on these gender mainstreaming standards. I would like to also invite EcoBank to sign. Also, our CEO, Dr. Teo, you will be signing this commitment. UPDF is also on about. You sign. UGAFORD.
Makerere University.
Okay, representatives from Makerere University would like to invite you to come and also sign. Finance Trust Bank, please, would like to invite you to come and also sign. While we are doing that, KCCA, Mr. John Michael Oloy, yes. First of all, we'd like to recognize you, Director Gender at KCCA. So KCCA is also signing this commitment. UN Women, Agrippina, would like to recognize your presence and also invite you to come and sign this commitment from UN Women.
She used to give me money. I don't know what happened.
What happened?
Don't feel bad about the money, just clap.
Finance Trust, we did. Okay. PPDA is also here. We were having this argument as PPDA comes to sign. We're having this argument about the 30%, and yet we are hearing that 70% of the businesses are women. The 30 of men are the ones giving PPDA 70% business. How is it? How is it that women have the highest number of businesses, but when government is procuring, they procure 30%? How does this work? Anybody have the science and the technology around it? Women-led businesses are 70%, isn't it? But PPDA has only allowed for 30% procurement from government to women. How? Yet we are the more. But, okay, yes. So with that, we would actually like to close this event. Thank you so much for making this commitment. However, I wish that I had the power to close an event. I don't. And so I'd like to invite Honorable Amelia Chambade to close this event. Okay, I'm going to invite, I got in my protocol wrong and I apologize. I think I'm getting too excited. People are signing. I would like to invite Dr. Teo to invite Honorable Amelia Chambade to close this event.
Those are some of the things I don't understand. You go to a function, especially this local council, I don't have the power to invite the LC chair. Have you been to them? I really. There's somebody who was online and he sent me something that was his observation. This is what he said. He said, most of the charges and most of the costs poor people pay
are meant to sustain the lifestyle of the bourgeoisie. This person is from Nigeria. Do you understand what he's saying? Eh? No wonder some people get bonus checks of 50 million. I want people to think about that and unpack it. Before I invite Mama Amelia, I was honored to attend the World Economic Summit one time. And one of the people I like most, because he has been paying for me to attend them, called Aliko Dangote, said, we have a problem in Africa, that most of the banks are foreign, so can I use this opportunity, Mama Amelia? We have to find a way. All African countries that are moving into serious space in banking are supporting local financial institutions with due respect to foreign banks. But at the end of the day, we are all Ugandans, and this is our country. We have to preserve it, we have to protect it. How much of this money that they make from our own people is actually repatriated or used to establish businesses in other countries? And lastly, a lot of interventions taken are not cascaded down to beneficiaries. Yeah? I actually, even me at my level, I was surprised when we were invited as Minister of Finance that there is even a whole department that handles financial inclusion and intervention. But Bank of Uganda, for instance, has protection something. How many of you feel comfortable to walk into the central bank if you have a problem? So maybe, yeah. I remember even when Mama Grasha came here to visit, and I had to make an arrangement for her to go and see the governor. It was hard. Imagine me, you people who know me well. I always, find my way. So, can we find a way of disseminating new interventions through the right channels and doing the right partnerships? Yeah? Maybe if URA has something along clearance and digital, maybe it is us who go to a winner and who work with Casita than you who is viewed as a taxpayer. So, after such a morning, thank you so much for coming. I cannot speak after media, so darling Amelia, I welcome you to close this workshop, and I pray that you people, yes, I'm speaking so that sometimes have the next people I'm so old.
Thank you very much. My sister Tel is the CEO of Gracia Michelle Trust Women's Leadership. Distinguished CEOs of different organizations, all our presenters, our protocol observed. I'm supposed to close today, but I'll just make a few points that I felt that we need to focus on, or we need to sometimes rethink our methods of work in ensuring that we have a sustainable woman empowerment strategy or plan or have a real thing. I know there's a number of nomenclature in the country. People are talking about climate change globally, women empowerment, girl child. I know this. But people do not lift the veil to see that are we really doing the right thing. We've all been talking about women empowerment here, gender mainstreaming. But there are disparities. I don't want to stand here and lament, but the disparities emanate from you who seated here. Yeah. You have a house girl at home. How many times do you sit with that house girl to listen to her problems? And you're talking about empowerment. Does she sit on the same table as you? No. Does she eat the same food? Yes. Do you sit with her to discuss her issues, because she also has a life outside your house. We have had issues of violence of house girls against our children. It's because of the way you're treating her. She's paying back. So all of you reflect and look at that girl, house girl, as another woman looking for empowerment. She's not an animal. So the disparities start with you who's seated here. You shout, you scream, you push her around. You expect her to do so much. If she was to go in a day, would you do all that? For me to find me with my house girl, do you think we are sisters? We sit, we laugh, we converse.
We share groups.
We share, yes, we give the keeper. Now the change, the mindset change has to start with you who's looking for empowerment. With you who's seated here, you great lady here. So these are the disparities I'm thinking about. Woman empowerment has segmentation. Segments of the professionals, of the market women, of our workers at home. So sometimes we don't have to talk about women empowerment in an omnibus. Let's talk about, let us address these different segments. How are we approaching them? I remember someone asked, who's representing the woman? And you said, oh, this lady, she's making this, she's making this. It's not enough. I want the real woman in her home. See, she comes, she sits here, we speak to her.
Yes.
Or another woman from Karamoja to come and sit here. And she also listens and takes back the message. This lady now, she has been obligated to another level. Will she go back to Nachesanja there and tell them? It's quite hard. So when we're looking at these issues, let us highlight the segments of these women. Now we have these powerful people talking about their banks. People have talked about that. When will my Hajat down there come to this bank? What is your link with the Niginas, with the village, rotational funds, with the what? What is our link as Gresham? With those little banks these ladies are trying to form. They meet every Friday. They collect money every week. Each one puts in 5,000, 2,000, and at the end of the week she borrows 100,000 from it. Do you know about them? And we're sitting here talking about banks. These banks are good, but they're doing business also. They're looking for profit. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be nasty, but this is reality. Then you come to the middle woman. Sometimes you don't even talk about the middle woman, the woman who's doing trade. That woman is also suffering. An interest rate of 12, not even 12%, actually. What's your percentage? Madam, you haven't told us about your interest rate. 12%?
We negotiate.
20. Negotiate. Now, that is where the hitch is. Negotiate. So, this business lady is also suffering. So, let us, when we look at women empowerment, let us start addressing them in phases. And we say today, we are talking about the vulnerable woman. Today the theme is the businesswoman. Today the theme is the vendor or the market woman. I'm happy, Abel. Abel, I'm surprised. I was so impressed. And I must admit, I was a bit biased against you. And I saw you, I said, now why did they bring a man? But by the end of it, I realized you were for us. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
So I thank you so much. You talked about that market woman. They have no confidence. I remember when the vendors were suffering so much, cases here, I'm sorry. They were being beaten and thrown around. I decided to work with them. Not work with them because of shock, but I wanted their confidence. I wanted them to start having confidence in us, in government. And I started skilling them through MTAC. We have had batches of vendors who have transformed through that skilling. They'll do catering, hair work, all these. But all these I was doing as a woman, all these I was doing as a way of addressing the issues of the vulnerable groups. They trained, some of them have progressed. One of them who did tailoring, in fact I want to do research on them, alumni. One of them who did tailoring, her husband bought her machines. And she has a tailoring institution. Wow. Not institution, but for what? For a business. Yes, for skilling others. Others have remained there, but what they will do, they will bring all their baskets of bananas in the ministry when I stay in the ministry. And they say, it West End. I said, but I trained you. I skilled you. So you can see there's also a mindset issue. You have given this woman skills, she has a certificate, she even graduates, but she still feels that she belongs there. Yeah. I find them on the street. I think I West End. I say, what are you doing here? So, those are some of the disparities that I wanted to bring out. Another issue. I'll put down this one. Another issue is still financing. What kind of financing are you offering? When you're going for a loan, all of you have applied for loans. There are some tiny letters they put in. But you're so desperate, you want that money so badly that sometimes you don't even read those tiny letters. And yet they are binding you. You forget that within 6 months you're supposed to pay it back. But there is no provision whatsoever that in case you have a shock or you have a problem, the bank will give you a grace period or will give you or would have a one way of helping you, not giving you money, but some form of flexibility. That provision is not there. They want their money. So we who are negotiating, women now, let us also advocate for that provision, that when we are doing that, taking that agreement, that in case I have a problem and I'm unable to pay in time, is it there?
Yes, it is.
It's not there.
The issue is, you have to listen to information is there, but the consumer
will not know, you don't bring it out. Yes. So another issue is membership to organizations. These are also expensive ventures. If I have to become a member of OYO, I have to pay.
Yeah.
I have to pay, I have to subscribe, I have to pay membership. What services am I getting from it? Now me, I can afford to do that. But what about the other person? What about the vendor? What about the lower person, vulnerable person who's selling charcoal? She's a woman, she qualifies as a woman. She's an entrepreneur in her own way. But can she be a member of OYO? So these organizations, I think we need to look at also the local organizations down there. They have their small organizations or companies, a form of. So we should also start addressing them. Communication. How do we communicate with all these people? We're sitting here, women, we're speaking English, the best English. But now, how will the person in Kabbalah know what we're talking about? How will the person in Gulu know what we're talking about? Okay, they understand English. But we are sitting here in this room. We need to start moving out. We need to start having these sessions down there. And we say, today we are in Gulu. Tomorrow we are in Baran. The other day we are in Fiji. This should be also for UTEL. Let us start moving out. So that people start appreciating our services and start appreciating the role we are playing towards empowering them. Then we all have small businesses. Whom do you take on as apprentices? People to come and train with you. If you have a small business, let's say you're making baskets. Take on women so that they can also learn. Young people so that they can also learn. Then other social aspects that affect our businesses. There is an issue of incest. Do you know all these girls are suffering from incest? Incest. Raped by our husbands, raped by their brothers, by their cousins. But whenever we talk about women, nobody addresses that. It is very common, and it could be happening right under your nose, and you don't know. Your daughter is being abused by a relative. It is very common, but I've never seen it on the agenda. No. We talk about pregnancies and all that. Whose pregnancy is it? One time in my area, I started up a business. Not a business, but a tailoring business to support, to skill, actually a skilling institution, to support the women. But all these girls who came in, they came with babies. Most of them had babies. And their babies were from their homes. But do you know it is a serious matter? Yes. We never address it. And when I would try to address it, their mothers would say, don't spoil my home. Yes. Yeah, this girl is telling me those things, but don't spoil my marriage. That's what they say. And the child is her daughter. The person who has done it is her husband. So she said, don't spoil my home. She's thinking about herself. She's not thinking about the life of this girl. Let us start addressing also the social issues of the women. When we are talking about the economic livelihood, let it be socio-economic livelihood. Because if I'm not happy, definitely I'll not work. Then another one is government agencies. Fortunately, we have some CEOs from different government agencies. For example, opportunities. I've had URA, I've had SCCA. Please, be flexible, be accessible. We cannot access, we don't feel you. You know, for me, I'm in a transition from public to private. I'm in public, but I must. But now that I've been exposed to the private sector, people are suffering. I'm feeling it. People cannot access us. We are big people there in public offices. We say we are fighting for gender, but how many people can access you to know their rights? The opportunities I've had you talking about good things, very good things. How many people know about your policies and the things you do and how you are fighting for us women? Yeah. Revenue Authority talks about very good things. But sometimes going through those barriers, security check, this, that. Do you have a card? Do you have this? Do you have an appointment? Now, imagine me from Nachesage. When will I access you? For me, I used to have an open policy in Australia. I would have a day or 2 days for public. People would book it. The place will be packed full. And that is what I'm doing also in Kingdom Plaza. People walking, coming with their issues, and I handle and I link them up to the responsible people. So government agencies are created to support people, especially women. Let's work together. As I conclude, we've been saying all government should introduce financial literacy, taxation, and what? But let the organizations or institutions also have corporate social responsibility. And start doing some of these things by skilling people, by training them in financial literacy, taxation. You already took on that role. Start training people wherever they are, in institutions, in these organizations, through these organizations. Like here, you should have brought someone if there was time to talk to people about taxation. Because most of us are trying to do business, but we don't even know our obligations under taxation. We don't even know our rights We are just scared of that monster you are in. It's a monster. People are so scared. These days you are trying, actually. It was like you and DS when I just gone in the ministry. You and DS was a monster. People would literally run. But now they have improved a bit. So as I finalize or conclude or close, I'd like to call upon the powerful people here. That you have a role to play. Starting from your home, starting from your community. You people, you don't even know your neighbors in most cases. People just driving. And get to know your people, the people around you. Of course, in urban centers, it's difficult. But get to know each other. I like women who form societies or associations together. They have activities together, they share this. It's important. Because start from there. Start from your house. I've told you about your house girl. Today, just go back and say hello and say, how are you feeling today? You see her face glow. And thank you. Thank you is something very small. But for me, I use thank you. I don't know how many times I did. Whatever someone does, thank you. Does not cost you anything. It will build the relationship between you and that human being, a fellow woman. So it is you. Two synergies. We are all different people from different organizations. Let us consolidate our synergies so that we work together for the empowerment of women. I want to thank government. It has tried. That's why we are here. If it hadn't given us the power, we wouldn't be here. So it is also trying with the parish model. It is us to make them work. Link up with the local governments. They are also good because they will link you up with the women in their respective areas. I want to thank you. I shouldn't bore you with a speech. There have been too many speeches. I want to thank Teo. Teo is my dear friend. We argue, we quarrel, but we are friends. And in the gym, she's a friend to everybody. We would go to the gym, but for me, I've passed her. She's there still struggling. Most of us are the same size. I don't know. I think she has lost her seriousness in her matter. May God bless you. I thank you for listening. I declare. What should I declare?
You're declaring that the gender mainstreaming standards has been...
First of all, let me thank Gracia wherever she is. I don't know whether she's seen me. Well done. Maybe I'll go for work. So I just want to thank Gracia. Powerful women like Gracia. You can also become powerful. You know, I have a motto in my organization called Tuezimbe Development Foundation, that you have the capacity to be anything. You who are seated here, you can also become powerful in your community, in your country, in East Africa, in Africa. You have the capacity because you have the will and zeal, the enthusiasm to take off 4 hours to come and sit here. That shows that you already have the potential. The potential to transform the other woman next to you, near you, under you, above you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Gracia. Gracia Michelle, I want to thank you so much for having given us the capacity to empower other women, and for empowering us. You are a gem to Africa. We appreciate you. We thank you for this foundation, and we believe that we'll be able to take it to another level so that the other woman also feels the power that you have generated
and pour down on us. We thank you for that, and we love you as Uganda. We thank you.
So we have finally closed this event, but how do you close an event? We don't want to just tell stories. But hey, we had a breakfast, this one came, also this one came. No, we would like to actually have a photo moment. This photo moment allows us to keep this information of your presence. This sign of the signing of the gender mainstreaming standards will actually be put into a frame and kept. This is part of a 3-year project funded by the Gracia Machel Trust. And so in the next 3 years, we are going to see, yes, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Yes. Now excitement is too much. So I'd like to invite us to, because I'm just like, oh, gender lenses are coming through. We're going to have a photo moment, and I'm going to ask the staff of New Life, please, us, our organize, to help us organize ourselves to take this picture. Yes.
The women in media.
Women in media, yes, the Women in Media Network. So please come and help organize us to take this picture, please. This is an important picture. We need supervision for some of us. Yes. Please come and give us some good women in media. Come and tell us. Please come and show us how we can best take this picture, please.
I'd like to suggest that we all come forward so that that is in our background and that and this. Yeah. So please, kindly.
Sorry.
Sometimes when people are many, the picture doesn't look nice. So we can take because we have an online newsletter as Gracia Machel Trust, which is minding some interested in it. So let's have smaller groups. Then we'll end up with a bigger group. So Amelia, Diana. UN Women, please, JCCA. Please. Siatin. Thank you. Everybody who came is powerful and very important for us because we invited you. We know how important you are for our agenda. I invite the man with me, so you sit here and I massage. Yes, otherwise you will just get that bonus. So thank you. You have a problem. New faces, new voices, women in the media. Sarah, you have worked so much for this to be Winnie, you slept here to make sure that this works. Where's Sarah? Women in the media. Oh my God! You are so smart. Just come and join us. Wanda, where are you? Sarah, we have our head of M&E, the best M&E expert in Uganda. There she walks in. This we can't see her. You make me look so big. You are very small. I need people of my size. Victor is the only gentleman in New Faces, New Voices. So Victor. And as you are posing, just imagine how beautiful our MC made the day. Thank you so much, Mrs. Morodo. Thank you so much. Thank you.
green, the ones we are smiling at. We are smiling at the ladies in green. We are smiling at the ladies in green. Those are the ones we are smiling at. Yes. I meant those very empowered women who are working